hello everyone. Welcome in umbraCoffee episode 291. And hello September. That's exciting and scary at the same time. I'm joined today by Courtney. How are you, man, today? How's your
Hi,
week?
Marcin. Yeah, doing great, doing great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. The week passed by, and as we've been joking over the summer, that September, October is too far away in time. Now we are here and we are approaching this month. How the month started for you? You've been going through a lot of changes recently. Uh,
Yeah,
how,
absolutely,
how are
absolutely.
you?
Yeah, no, doing great. It's warm, enjoying a very post late September, late summer, I must say. Around 30 degrees Celsius in the Netherlands or 86 Fahrenheit for our American audience watching. So, yeah, warm, but good. Work going well, life busy as always. So, yeah, good, good.
Yeah, there are some comments that Callum, you look different a little bit now.
Just a little bit different, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah,
His,
no,
his accent also changed a little bit. So.
Yeah, might be this kind of wind of changes recently, but no, Callum is hopefully enjoying his mixture of time off and time working on the remote location, so it's kind of workation for him. And I kindly asked him how's your internet on Wednesday, if you are joining, and he kindly answered that it's shitty and he's probably not going to join today. So maybe Callum is watching. Let us know if your internet connection allows you to. But no, enjoy and hopefully we will see his activity soon because there's a lot of things happening. And if we're in this positive September vibes, it may be worth to start from something what is approaching with the very big steps, which is Umbraco end of life, Umbraco 7 end of life.
Ooh.
And Corny, I mentioned this question before we went live. Do you miss updating Umbraco from version 7? Are you still involved
the,
in this vibe of updates?
my politically correct answer would be not that much, but no, it's not something I miss. I must say, the couple of upgrades that I've done over the last year were challenging and interesting, but no, I've decided to go for some new challenges since the last month.
Maybe then to spoil or maybe describe for someone who might not follow this activity recently. We've mentioned a couple of your activities and blog posts and your journey over the last time. Of course, you switched from an agency life and the projects for the multiple clients to a very well-known, multi-awarded package creators and the package itself, which is called You Marketing Suite, right? And then you are, what's your role now in the team? Is it somehow defined? You're a developer or you're responsible for a specific area of the product?
Yeah, I'm the lead developer for the product itself, so I'll be in charge of actual product development for everything going forward. And to go with that, with the rest of the team, try to just be critical about the ideas, the roadmap, everything IT related. Yeah, that's pretty much my role over there.
Nice. So you transition to a product-centric approach now, but you've been also sharing that you've been doing a lot of versioning and multi-targeting challenges recently. So it's still maybe not a version of Umbraco, but the version of .NET that is making you nightmares a little bit, right? That always
Exactly. It's not Umbraco 7 that we have to support, but everything from Umbraco 8 and uphill, still very much hands-on work these days, and especially the challenges that go along with it, trying to develop code that works for Umbraco 8 all the way up to Umbraco 12 and whatever's coming up next. It's fun. It's fun.
Always fun. And I saw some tweets during this week that this year was full of Umbraco 7 upgrades, or everyone was basically I didn't even realize how fast it went from announcing end of life and discussing with clients that you maybe need to do something with it, maybe we need to approach it from this approach or the other angle. And now we are here because, of course, just to be completely serious, on September 30th, Umbraco will officially reach, Umbraco 7 officially will reach the end of life phase, which doesn't mean that every website running Umbraco 7 will blow up, just to be clear. But there was a lot of approaches. And you've currently also shared a lot of your observations from the updates, because you've done a couple of them, right? Just before the transition. Was it smooth? How you would summarize this process?
It's I would say it was quite challenging, and because it really depends on the client and the type of project that you're upgrading, or at least the clients that I've upgraded. Because some clients are more interested in doing a straight up, you want to upgrade from 7 to 8 to keep the end of date behind it. Some want to do a complete rebuild, all stuff like that. So there's really a lot of approaches you can take when upgrading, and every project is different. One may involve a couple of packages that are very difficult to migrate. Some are very content heavy. Some may involve a bunch of members or a user base that have to be ported. It's unique. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. And as Warren said, that websites will not self-implode. And I was doing a lot of seminars, webinars with the customers as well, trying to describe them what opportunities are ahead of us. Because again, the products and the software is going end of life usually, and a lot in the various circumstances. Plus, generally, software is already old the day after it's being written. So there's a lot of good and positive outcomes of this announcement, and I think we all needed it. I can say that, at least from my perspective, we all needed to look from the perspective of something being old when it comes to Umbraco, because then we can think about new stuff, which is always exciting. And I don't know if you saw this battle of the David Heinemeier Hansson, the Ruby on Rails creator, started this week another storm in the internet, because he said that the software as a service kind of nerd is kind of bad, because he wanted to pay once for something and just run it then. And then they started a new company called Once. And there's a big battle and a big discussion amongst the not only software developers, but should software be run as a service? Should we pay once and maybe bigger price for something? Should we rebuild? Should we maintain? I think their perception will always change. And I don't have my strong feeling about it, because I like both. I like paying once, and I like running free software as well, and I like software as a service when it's helpful, right? So, yeah. That was. Have you seen that? Have you seen this battle or not?
No,
yet?
I did not. No, I did not. Shockingly enough, but it does sound like a very interesting debate, because I see where you're coming from. There's something to be said about both sides for whether you should go for software as a service or not, subscription based, license based, buy once, continue supporting forever, or just more of a continuous upgrading and supporting path. It's interesting. I'd like to catch up on that conversation.
Yeah, I do have a lot of products which I bought on Product Hunt or different occasions where they have a lifetime license already, and that was pretty cool, because you really decide to pay once, and then you are supported, and it's a higher price upfront, but maybe then it's less challenging to pay for it monthly. But I would love to see more discussion, because of course in Umbraco we also been going through the evolution of the product from completely free, run it yourself, your problem, to cloud, headless offerings, completely software as a service approach. So yeah, we've been going through both, and I still feel like a lot of people do not know where to go and what is better and when it's better. And have you been using both Umbraco offerings yourself when it comes to cloud, headless versus self-hosted approaches?
Yeah, we have. I think I've done pretty much the whole spectrum, going from on-premise hosting, Umbraco Cloud, Azure hosting, even Umbraco Hardcore. We've done the whole spectrum, and like you already said, there's a place for everything in I believe the world of Umbraco. It really depends on a lot of different factors, whether you're trying to does the client have specific hosting requirements? Is this something that you want Umbraco support out of the box? Is it something that you can benefit from either financially or performance-wise? For example, the Umbraco Cloud new hosting region in Australia, something that you've mentioned last week on umbraCoffee, is something that I can imagine being quite a big deal for the Australian audience, which can push them over the edge to go for cloud hosting for such a setup. It really depends.
Yeah, I think Carl here took a really nice approach because he mentioned that software is never finished, only abandoned. And I would say it is abandoned, but for the
Right.
specific period of time because we are running in circles. And that's what we've mentioned all the time. It's like, okay, let's go cloud. Then after the cloud, oh, let's get out of the cloud. Oh, then let's get back to the cloud. So this is all depends. And I think we all need more data-driven decisions and factors that will help us to really decide better. And I think we'll talk about it a little bit later today because there are some factors that might help you to decide better for yourself. But just to wrap up this topic, I think it's worth to remember about this date. And of course, if someone already took the approach to update, change, reveal, whatever, that's great. Share this, and please let us know what was the main path you've taken during this year. And if you haven't, maybe it's time also to just nudge your clients, customers, and tell them that and scare them a little bit that the website will be less supported and do something maybe with it. And there is also a session, end of life session that Umbraco is hosting. I didn't know about it earlier, but we can sign up and there will probably an online session where we can all ask different kind of questions and get the answers straight from Umbraco. So that's end of life. And I will link this page also inside of the materials from today's episode because it has answers for a lot of the questions that are already really nicely covered. And I'm also sure that this topic and amongst the other topics will be discussed a lot on Code Cabin, which starts today. And Corny, have you ever attended or considered attending Code Cabin non-conference?
I haven't attended. I did consider attending this year, but mostly because a lot has been going on over the last couple of months. I was a little bit skeptic to apply, especially because I believe it's this weekend, if I recall correctly.
Yes, starting today.
That I didn't really know if I could plan ahead that far, but I'm definitely considering applying for next year, as I always feel the fear of missing out whenever I see the amazing pictures and discussions happening afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly why I mentioned this, because I do want to observe what is coming out of it, because as everyone who attended mentioned that there is a lot of discussions, a lot of exchange of information, and also a lot of different perspectives. I'm more than sure that there will be some really nice outputs and takeaways from this weekend. And yeah, wishing all safe travels, great experience, and please do tweet and share a lot what you are doing there, because we don't want to fear that much FOMO. Then you can help us to feel less FOMO as well. So that's Code Cabin. And one thing that I wanted to focus more about is this script release this month and this week. Have you read through the two amazing articles being shared this week, Connie?
Absolutely. Yeah. Another amazing lineup this week.
Yeah, so sustainability and the great article from Amy being shared this week about approaches to software and digital sustainability in general. And that's what I mentioned by some factors that might help or not help us to run better infrastructures, choose better, more sustainable paths to host or run solutions. And that's an amazing article from Amy, because Amy was involved in a lot of sustainability discussions, and she's also part of the sustainability team in Umbraco. So I highly encourage everyone to read through this article and see how we can all have an impact to a better world around us. And the second one, I haven't read carefully through that one yet, but Andrew was very vocal, and from what I've seen, it's a really nice introduction to running something what is not maybe full the hours, but in the Fort ecosystem, and then make sure that we are keeping it up to date. Is that correct? What was your takeaway from this article for me?
Yeah, pretty much exactly like you said. I think it's cool, as it's really addition to the open source community. After all, be able to fork and hack your own solutions into it, and even contribute back. And forking being pretty much a requirement for that. So it really helps to have some guidelines on how to get started with that. Whether it's a big project like, let's say, Umbraco, for example, or even a smaller library. Being able to fork it, create your own solutions based on top of it, and contribute back if need be. It's a great honor or a great tribute to open source.
Yeah, I'm very curious if there will be a forked version of Umbraco 7 after end of life to make some
Let's hope
patches.
not. Let's hope not.
But having some patches and security updates and stuff like that. But it is possible, of course, because it's a beauty of open source.
True.
But I do remember that I started my first Umbraco project, and I didn't even know what forking is and how open source works. But I just downloaded the source code of Umbraco and I built the projects on top of that. That was my first Umbraco project. Not the best in overall, but it worked. It did it.
Very relatable.
So yeah, please people support script, read script, and check out everything what was released in this 19.8 episode. Oh, there was also your article highlighted here. So
Yep.
that's amazing. And as usual, script team, thanks for sharing and gathering it all for us here. So that's script. A couple of the releases to mention, starting from Umbraco workflow. And I wanted to ask you, maybe you've been using Umbraco workflow.
No, sadly I haven't. No, I've always looked. I was always looking for a good excuse to use it, but sadly we've never had such in-depth editor workflows needed that we required Umbraco workflow. I've always did find it fascinating to check out though. So I do try to keep up with what's been going on with it.
Yeah, same. And I tried recently to really push it amongst the customers because there were a couple of the ideas of exactly making more future-proof process of content creation, and this is exactly for what it was made for. And Nathan and the team in Umbraco is doing an amazing job right now in constantly improving a Clamber that turned out into Umbraco workflow. And we've mentioned the RC release not that far away in time, and now we have a official release of 12.1, but also 11.3 and 10.3 versions of Umbraco workflow. So everyone who found or is using actively the package can benefit from all of the improvements out there with small breaking changes as well and some other improvements too. Other than that, there were a couple of really interesting discussions on Twitter. Mark Drake was very active this week and shared a lot of interesting, I would say, maybe not tips, but some inspirations. What we can do with things like Umbraco URL alias, magic string property. And he said that maybe a simple property editor that makes it look a little bit better than just a plain text field. And I thought that it's amazing, and I will definitely relate to having something like that instead of just simple text, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those smaller things that people can really benefit from a user experience perspective.
Yeah, and as we've been always mentioning that this magic strings hidden properties are not well documented, making them look better might just make them more used amongst the solutions. And other than that, Mike also asked a really nice question. Can we fix this thing? And I don't know, have you seen that? But he was lacking some C# powers, but I would say more like an Umbraco powers yet to do so. With a property of image being used inside, image proper being used inside of the block, which is then a block item. And Soren here answered a really interesting reply that it will be easier and more possible when we will have the reusable blocks. And of course, we are still having these discussions of the reusable blocks on this new section. And I think it will open a door for us to really use this kind of recursive reuse of the properties inside of the blocks and the references among them. So that might be really cool to do so. Do you have any C# related challenges inside of the Market Institute code base recently that you are fighting with?
Oh boy, that's a good one. I have to be really, I was about to say, I have to be really careful here not to try to spoil too much before things get public. But I think the main challenge is that a package like your marketing suite heavily relies on the, let's say, request pipeline of Umbraco. So you really have to get some in-depth knowledge about not only what .NET does whenever a request comes in, things like the middleware options and stuff like that, but also how Umbraco itself handles the way it fetches content, how it handles cultures, variations, how properties are fetched and how they're stored, deserialized, all that kind of stuff. Those are a lot of challenges, and you really those are the moments that it really helps that Umbraco is an open source package, because I'm really running Umbraco source code in parallel, just trying to figure out what everything is doing, and working your way through that. So those are definitely some interesting challenges that you run into such a thing.
And you've been mentioning some of them already. That was a segue that I wanted to really use, because you mentioned middlewares and you found some really cool ways of improving the registration of the middlewares using the Umbraco composer. So it's like C# connects with the Umbraco ways of doing things, and the other way around, you can simplify a lot from the registrations of C# by using an Umbraco mechanism, right? So yeah,
exactly. And this might be a very obvious one to some people, but I'm sure a lot of people are also unknown to such, let's call it small fixes or hacks or solutions to perhaps common or trivial problems. And I try to share more and more of those the more I learn about the way such processes work. This week being one of them. So hopefully be able to learn a lot more, and if so, you'll be sure to see them on my social feeds. So.
Definitely, and be sure that we'll be also asking a lot of questions, because I've been always fascinated by your marketing suite capabilities, and now I'm very curious about the ways of going forward with it, because again, a lot of people are right now enjoying the headless, the mag, the coupled ways of doing things with not only Umbraco but other systems, and this is where this coupling with Umbraco might not be that much helpful, right? So there's a lot of challenges of decoupling this and maybe making sure that we are doing something else. And I'm sure you are doing some of this future roadmap approaches, but you can be sure that we'll be chasing and asking how it's going and where it's going right now from your perspective.
Exactly. I can't comment on that yet, but once stuff is more known or there is something I can talk about, umbraCoffee will be one of the first ones to know.
And you are not sending access, right? Just for revealing stuff. So that's
I'm not sending them, but I fear that I might be receiving a couple of them if I do say too much over here. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm curious what Jeffrey is sending then internally after revealing too much. That would be cool.
Let's not mention that I'm on this show today, just in case.
Yes, we won't be checking that. But they're cool, and that's really interesting. And definitely share what you've learned. And we also know that a lot of great your team and generally the work around the marketing scene was impacting the Umbraco ways of doing things, and it was like a synergy between the two products that are helping each other to become better in general. So that's
absolutely
so that's great. The next one was the official release of UMB checkout. So it was, we had a really nice demo from Aaron a while ago, and now it's been posted and officially released. There were also a couple of the posts and tweets about the fast way of establishing the e-commerce solution with UMB checkout and the packages there. And I can't remember now, but I'm sure Aaron can also fix me and fix my understanding. But it was half an hour between the start of the project, using some kind of starter kit, and then establishing the fully functional e-commerce store on checkout. So that was amazing.
If I recall correctly, it was even 2 minutes, not even 30 minutes. Just like within 2 minutes into getting the template up and running and getting something connected, if I recall correctly.
It was either 2 minutes or 30 minutes of creating this template, because there was a Dean who messaged me once, and he said that we've done it. It's worth to cheer this up, and definitely that's amazing how fast we can build things now, and having a powers and .NET templating and knowledge on how to run it and how to create them. So that's amazing, and now it's officially released. So UMB checkout is out and officially, and it's confirmed. That was 2 minutes. So even faster. Damn it.
Impressive.
Impressive. And so everyone who didn't hear and didn't see the package live, you can check it on umbraCoffee in the past episodes. I can't remember the number of episodes, but Aaron was doing an amazing demo of the package itself, and now there's a nice description, information, and everything about it released officially. So check it out as well. one more package that was pushed from Nathan as well this week is called Nesting Contently. And it was a property editor for toggling the display state of the block editors, block elements in the Umbraco CMS, and it received a new version, 12.0, for version 12 of Umbraco. So everyone who is using this, I haven't, but it seems to be a pretty cool extension for the blocks and ability to control their visibility by the Umbraco Navihide property, by the way.
Cool.
Can use it. Yeah. Have you seen this package?
No, I haven't. No. I know that in the past I've used, and when talking about Umbraco 8 projects, we've used the Perplex nested content blocks replacement, which pretty much wraps the nested content and also added a similar feature. But I don't think there was anything similar for the new block grid, and especially seeing as nested content is now deprecated, this seems like a very useful and cool addition. As it doesn't always make sense to try to either hide or have to remove your properties altogether just when you want to hide them.
Yeah, exactly. So that was
cool.
something that was requested and needed by Nathan, and Nathan released this, and now we have an updated version. So I'm sure people are still using it, and I did really like this kind of extension methods on Umbraco in general in the past, where we can always check is visible, and it was doing it by the Umbraco Navihide property, and this is what is here. So yeah, everyone can benefit from it. So that's open source, and yeah, the next is events, and you've been also actively promoting activity of your local communities, Corny, in Netherlands, right? And we can start from here. So there's a Umbraco Dutch Festival, which is renamed to Umbraco Experience. How you're approaching that? Are you counting days already to the event?
Absolutely. I sadly didn't get accepted as a speaker this year, but I did get my tickets in, so I will be attending September 28th on a Thursday, end of this month. Hoping to see a lot of familiar faces and hopefully also a couple of new ones. If you see me, be sure to say hi. Pretty amazing lineup, I believe too. Some familiar faces, some new faces, some very cool experts, MVPs, some Umbraco HQ folk. Lots of cool sessions, I believe, in parallel.
Yeah, that's
really
as
looking forward
usually another person, and we are not paying anyone for promoting and saying the good words about this event, but it was an amazing experience, and I'm sad that I'm not going this year as well, but do enjoy, and it looks amazing, and definitely worth counting down days, and everyone who might want to join, the tickets are still on sale. Last year they were sold out before the event, so I'm sure if someone is still considering, it's worth definitely securing spot and going, and until the tickets are still possible to be bought. So that, just to mention that it's on 28th of September, so not that far away in time. The next one, which is just after, is Umbraco UK Festival, and Callum is not with us today, but he was very busy selecting not only the speakers to agenda, but also pushing the event forward. But we can all now see who was selected, and Callum also did an amazing job of sharing this thread on why and how the selections were made and what are the statistics. Were you surprised by the statistics shared by Callum?
On one hand, I'd be surprised, but on the other hand, I mean, it's one of the bigger Umbraco festivals out there. Besides, of course, Code Garden and the more local ones for me in the Netherlands. I believe the UK Fest is the biggest in the UK, of course. So it's great to see so many people, so many sessions being submitted. Of course, also because of that, sadly, a lot of people disappointed, but I'm sure there's an amazing lineup. And also the range of topics. It looks like an awesome event.
Exactly, and I did really like the statistics by Callum here. And the 60 is a high amount of submissions, that's what can be said. But also only 5% of advanced topics. That's something what Callum even highlighted here. Like, it was the bigger chance to be selected by submitting the advanced topic than introductory topics. So, and this is where my imposter syndrome kicks, because then I said, maybe it's too complex. Maybe I shouldn't submit this kind of in-depth exploration of something. And in this case, it might be needed. It might be a highlight for all of us that it's worth to submit different kind of topics and submissions. So that was interesting finding for me at least. But for everyone who didn't see this thread, and all, of course for all the speakers selected, congrats! And that looks like an amazing lineup from another event. Some people from Microsoft and GitHub, if I'm correct as well. Umbraco, of course, Microsoft MVPs, Umbraco MVPs. Great people and a lot of friends from the community will share knowledge there. So yeah, it's worth considering. And also tickets are on sale. Same as it was for Dutch Umbraco experience. So we can all secure tickets November 2nd and 3rd, 2-day event. Topics will be announced hopefully soon, but not right now. We can just see who is talking, and it's an amazing day. 2 days in London, a couple of months from now. Smaller events, just to mention, are approaching. Kerala Umbraco user group is hosting online event on the next week, September 13th. And it seems like to be a really interesting event. 13 people already signed up. As it's online, everyone can participate, and we can unleash the power of Umbraco package development. So I'm really interested in this topic, and it seems like it's going to be a really interesting exchange of knowledge amongst a lot of people out there. So that's one next week, and two more on the same day. The Odense Umbraco meetup is organized as well, and Soren and the rest of people down there is going to discuss the Umbraco back office, and they will try to mount our new UI into Umbraco back office, which sounds like a really cool idea. It's in person, Odense, September 13th. And last but not least to mention is in London, the day after, September 13th, Thursday, is in-person event discussing Acing All the Things by Jason, and also Imposter Syndrome and Alternate Sustainable Approach to the Web by Thomas. So that's an exciting agenda. Unfortunately, in London, I will be in London this day, but I have another plan, so that's something to consider. Maybe I will join.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, maybe someday. Just like a coincidence.
Exactly.
We'll be walking next by. But yeah, for everyone there, it's in the TPX Impact office. So yeah, join there. So that's events. I'm just checking quickly on my list if I didn't forget about anything. No, there's one more, two more to mention. Umbraco Manchester group, but it's a little bit further in time, so September 20th. There will be a lot of discussions about DXP, also CSP policies and cookies. So that's an interesting combination, not only of the buzzwords, but interesting topics. So I hope that there will be more information about it soon, but it was very actively promoted this week. And there was also a new date shared by Bushra about the Turkish Umbraco user group, which has already 9 signups. So we've been following up and sharing how the group is growing and how the group is evolving. So the next meetup is in October, and already 9 people signed up. That's cool. And yeah, we'll see what it will be there. Unfortunately, it's all in Turkey, so we probably won't understand until we have knowledge of this amazing language. So yeah, that's meetups. That's all. 3 more topics to mention. One is interesting pull request that I spotted during this week, and Chris was sharing it. Icons for Umbraco. What is your current experience with icons in Umbraco? Have you done a lot of extensions?
I've not extensions, but I do know that I've wasted countless hours trying to find the right icons for my doc types, if that counts. So
yeah, that fully counts. That's same as naming conventions. I could spend exactly 5 hours finding the icon after 1 hour implementation of the doc type. So been there, done that. But here, Chris can make our life even worse because there is more icons to choose from. But now the iconic package being maintained and owned by Colben Digital and it was moved to the new version of this package here. And Mario and a lot of other people still actively maintain that because I hope and I believe that they are using it across their Umbraco solutions. And this pull request from Chris enhanced the list of icons by all of the material icons, which are a style or theme of the icons that can be just selected. And I, as a huge fan of icons and visual representation of stuff, I'm happy that something like this is making our life worse because we have more to choose from. But I haven't used Iconic package and the set of icons here, and it reminded me that something like this exists and that I need to take a look at that because maybe that's the way to go for another set of icons.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably one of those things that's usually underappreciated, but the first experience, or especially from a user experience perspective, having the right icons can really make a huge difference. So it's good that people are spending their time on the let's call it no-code packages.
Yeah, and as also we can all notice here, it has a support for various Umbraco versions. So it seems like a really nice library that can be transferred between the projects, and even if we'll decide to upgrade, we can still use it. And I think this visual representation of the doc types, icons, can still have a lot of love received from Umbraco in the future, because it's all about experience for the editors, and if it's a better experience for them, it will be a better solution in overall, and it can result in an amazing general perception of the project, I would say, right? So that's small things can make big impact in overall. So I believe in that, and icons are one of this.
Absolutely.
Same as images, and that's another link on my agenda today. Image Sharp and Umbraco 12 and image optimization, how we can benefit from it. And this blog post highlights a huge improvement and boost that we can receive just by upgrading the package version between the image Sharp versions. But I also explore a lot of the image ecosystem recently. I play with the tool called Cloudinary. I don't know if you heard about it. No. But it has an automatic recognition of the browser, and it can serve you the image by the best fit for this particular browser on the fly from the CDN, the closest to you. It's a cloud service done system, amazing one, which is processing images on the fly, but same as Image Sharp is doing locally as a library, it's doing it on cloud and in the more scalable ways. But so I see a huge potential for Image Sharp, and right now I understand why stats like this can be important, because I can't remember now statistics, but by the simple format change between not even WebP, but from WebP to something what either Chrome or Firefox is supporting natively, was resulting in the 40 or 50% size decrease and speed increase when it's loaded, the same image. So that's small item, but big smiles on the faces of people who are just running faster internet, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and not just from that perspective, but also if you look at it from a sustainability point of view, the less bandwidth that needs to be taken up with, the better your site is from a nature perspective.
That's exactly one of the drivers which points me towards exploring it more, because I see a huge overloaded websites that are just using videos, images. I don't judge editors by uploading big images, because we should have big images uploaded, but then how you process that, how you optimize it when you use it, that's the magic that can make a huge impact on sustainability, speed, perception, and a lot of exciting things. And Image Sharp and James, who is maintaining it actively, they are still doing amazing work inside of the package, and I'm sure that it will still benefit for all of us inside of the Umbraco ecosystem, because we will still use the image processing bundle inside of the Umbraco. So that's a really nice article from Alpha Labs today. And last but not least, video that was posted this week as well about the two-factor authentication for back office users. So something what is often done in a lot of solutions, I at least experienced myself. And now in this tutorial on the YouTube channel, we can see how step by step it can be done. And it's always worth to remember ourselves and also everyone else that it is possible, it can be done. This two-factor authentication here is using QR and Authenticator app. So how easily it is. It takes 18 minutes for Aladdin to do it. So it can take 25 for someone watching it with a coffee time in the meantime. So take a look on that and share and make your applications more secure. That was my message
Absolutely.
by the end of the day. And that's all what I had on my list. Anything else, Conor, from your perspective to add, to share?
No, nothing in particular, I think. It's great being here. Great topics. Like always, the Umbraco community has been very busy over the last week. It's great to see, especially from the various meetups, how broad the audience for Umbraco is spreading across the globe. Really cool to see, especially the more local meetup groups. So yeah, once again, Umbraco community is really stepping its game up week after week. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and thank you, Conor, for joining me today, sharing some insights and perspectives from your new perspective of the new role and new involvement. And again, share anything what you will learn. I really did enjoy your recap of 30 days in the new shoes. So looking for more of it in the near future. And yeah, be sure to reach out always if you will have anything interesting to share. And yeah, thanks again for joining me today, and thanks everyone for being with us today. And yeah, do enjoy the rest of your day. And we will all hopefully catch up next week on another umbraCoffee as usual.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you, Courtney. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day and see you soon, everyone.